right, hey, Jeff here again. I would like to now show just some of the things I've gotten in recently. It's actually been kind of a quiet couple weeks as far as new purchases have gone. Christmas money has gone tight. Plus, I have been hesitant to buy a lot, at least online, because I never know what somebody in the family may have ordered or bought me for Christmas. Because my kids were asking me, for my Amazon want list, to look at the different records, and so I never knew what they were going to buy, so I was afraid to grab anything. So I haven't bought a whole lot, but a few things have come in. As a matter of fact, today, first let me tell you this story. So this is funny. Okay, it's funny to me. I ended up getting I give everybody my want list for Christmas, and I ended up getting only one record because they all went different directions and bought different things. And the one record I got it's labeled as being from my son's girlfriend. But I mean, I know my son bought it and he got it from my want list. But anyway, so this is the one thing I got for Christmas. I got the reissue of Wasp's Last Command. Now, this is cool because I wanted to go back and get the older Wasp releases, so I grabbed this. What I thought was kind of funny about this is right before Christmas, I did run across a Wasp album on Discogs for a good price, and so I bought it. And then I thought to myself, what are the chances that somebody ended up buying me that for Christmas? I mean, because I gave them a want list of it probably has 40 records on there. And I said, hey, stick with the stuff that's in between $18 and $25 because I'm buying things that are when they drop down closer to 15. So anything I said anything over 20, I think, but I said anything really between 18 and 25 are records that I'm not going to be buying anytime soon. And I figured that's a good price for, a 20-year-old, 21-year-old kid to spend for their father for Christmas. So, hey, $20-25, buy me a record. And the Wasp albums were in that range. And I even pointed out, I said, anything I gave them I think 3 or 4 band names just because I have some stuff in there that are not as high on my want list. And I thought, let's let them buy something that I really want. So I was throwing out things like, get something by Raven, get something by Wasp. There was a couple bands I threw out to him. And anyway, so I purchased the first Wasp album on Discogs, and then I got to thinking, and it was before Christmas, and I got to thinking, what are the chances of them buying that album? Probably none. So I'll go ahead and buy it. So I went ahead and made the splurge. It's original release. It's in good condition, and it was way cheaper than buying the reissue. And then lo and behold, they ended up getting me a Wasp album for Christmas. They got close. 1-2. At least I got 1-2. I just couldn't believe that out of the 3 or 4 bands I mentioned, that they just randomly happened to get Wasp. So yes, today in the mail, the first Wasp album, probably still my absolute favorite. Everything about this, back when it came out, was I just wore it out. Now, the other thing that came with that, so this, how you get if you buy on Discogs, you get that, you got a want list on Discogs, and you go to buy something from somebody and it says they also have something else that's on your want list. So I clicked on it and found this album that they were selling that's also on my want list. And I thought this is going to be weird for the person selling it. They're going to say this has got to be the weirdest 2 albums that this guy bought. Anyway, I'm sure most of you don't even know who this is. 441, Mourning into Dancing, synth pop 84 or 5, something like that, 80 something, Christian pop synth type band. I showed their first album months ago in a video because I picked it up locally and it was still in the shrink and I paid like $4 for it. Anyway, this is they had 2 main albums that I had back in the day. The first one actually is the first time I had that, and then this is the second. This one I did have back in the day. I still have it digitally, but I thought I want to get this on vinyl. When I clicked on Wasp, they said he also had something else I want, and it was this. I thought this is weird. Here's a guy that's buying a synth pop Christian band and then buying, Wasp with all the gore and the blood and, doesn't have that, animal song on here, but still. 2 totally different. I thought this guy's got to be thinking, what the heck? Why is he buying these two things? Anyway, 441. I just wanted to get this. They did release an album after this. Honestly, never heard it, but I had this one. Loved it back in the day. And like I said, I still have it digitally, so it's nice to have it back on vinyl, original press. So that came in. This came in yesterday. A lot of you probably don't know who this is either, but maybe some do. 1,000-Foot Krutch, TFK for short. 1,000-Foot Krutch. This is the end is where it begins, and the end is where we begin. And then the second, it's a 2-record set, and the second album is all remixes, both of which have been released in the past. Clear red vinyl. 1,000-Foot Krutch is a modern hard rock Christian. Back when they started, they had that rap influence, kind of like my old band did. Back when they first started, their first album was very rappy. Then they got very just hard rock, and each album's a little hard rock, more hard rock, and occasionally the singer will break out into spoken, not really spoken word. His singing style can be singing or somewhat talking real fast. Not rap. You don't really feel the rap aspect as much as you do on the first album. This is like 2 albums ago. I don't know. They are still one of my favorite modern hard rock, along with like bands like Skillet and stuff. They're hard rock like that, metallic sounding. You know, if you're into 80s metal, if that's what you call metal, which I still do, I would say these guys are metal. But, you know, a lot of times nowadays people are like, no, that's not metal, that's hard rock, and that's not even hard rock, that's like pop rock. It's not pop rock. It's got some really good guitars, really heavy guitars. Anyway, 1,000-Foot Krutch is one of those bands that is just everything they do I really like. And when they've released this recently on vinyl, it just got shipped and I just received it. I think 1 or 2 of their other albums were released on vinyl in Canada. They're a Canadian band, and I don't know how I somehow missed out on them, and they are astronomically expensive now. So when I saw this one advertised, I got an email saying, hey, it's coming out, pre-order it now. I jumped it, I ordered it, pre-ordered it. It's not in a gatefold. It's one of those albums that holds 2. It's thick. This is the band. It's mainly 3 guys, but they do have, you know, musicians that play with them. So you got this is a guitar player and the drummer and the singer in the middle there. And anyway, they are technically a 3-piece band, but you know, when they play live, they got like 5 guys. Anyway, I really was excited to get that yesterday. This is the oldest thing I got. A couple, I guess, right after my last video. I think in my last video I talked about that I was expecting this and it came in. This is Joshua's Intense Defense, and if I get that glare off of there, Joshua is they're technically a Christian band, though I think this album is more marketed mainstream. It's not going off the screen, but this is 1988. So the reason I jumped on buying this was because in my last video I talked about the new Angelica reissue that just came out on vinyl and CD. Has Rob Rock on vocals. Rob Rock from Impellitteri and Project Driver and some other things, and a band called Driver, and solo stuff. Well, 89 he did the Angelica Christian album. 88 he was in Joshua. That's him right there. So it's technically also a Christian album, but lyrically, you know, there's a lot of spiritual stuff, and it's not real preachy, but Joshua is one of the fastest guitar players, and then I guess that Chris Impellitteri is like one of the fastest guitar players, and Rob Rock plays at both. After Rob left Joshua, they've had other singers and other albums. Seems like every album has a different singer for the most part. But anyway, I just wanted to have this. It is only overseas release, so I was glad to find a copy of this for like, it was under $15. I think it was $15. It was used but in good condition. And it's it's one of those albums. It's just like a melodic 80s metal, what I kind of consider a masterpiece. Sounds a lot better. It sounds a bit better on vinyl than it did on CD when it was compressed and kind of had a tinny sound. But this one's a little beefier just to have it on vinyl, and glad to have it. So that came in right after my last video, like the next day. That's all I got for now. There are some things coming in the mail. Things will pick back up now that we're past the Christmas season. And so I'll be back soon. Anyway, thanks for watching. Oh, wait a minute. Stop. I do have a couple CDs. So, let's just jump right into these. The new one from Saint. Saint is a Christian metal band. They've always been likened to like a Judas Priesty type sound. If you're not familiar with Saint, they've been around since the 80s and on and off making music. This is a new one called The Calf. And while most of their history they've been with Josh Kramer, and while I did a website for Josh Kramer for many years and love Josh Kramer's voice, he has not been with the band the past couple releases, and so this one is a new singer. But I gotta say, at times the singer sounds a little like Josh Kramer. I have also heard people say that they think he sounds like John Bush of Armored Saint. And a little story about that. I guess back in the day when they first started, they were called Armed Saint. Armed like I have a gun. I'm armed. Armed Saint. And Armored Saint, I guess, wrote him a letter, filed a suit against him or something, and said you can't use that name. It's too close to our name. They dropped the name and just called it Saint. They've always been one of my favorite. They just got a really good, I don't want to say melodic metal, but their vocalists, DOS, I guess, that kind of metal. Just gritty metal. Occasionally sounding like Judas Priest, but gritty metal with just amazing vocals. And I love this new singer. He sounds great too. Yeah, so that just came out the other day. This came in over the Christmas holiday. Tourniquet, the Epic Tracks Tourniquet thrash metal Christian band, autographed by the drummer Ted Kirkpatrick. Now, this is pretty much a best of album. They do have one song where they brought Tim Ripper Owens in and he re-sang the vocals. So there is one special updated song. Other than that, it's just a bunch of remastered best of tracks. But still, every song on here is like pretty much every song, 5 to 10 minutes. 6.5, 7.5, 8, 7.5, 10, 10, 9.5, 3, 8, 5. I mean, this is a full 70-something minutes of music. It's a great little, best of. Valor, Fight for Your Life, the remastered edition. This one I didn't even expect. I ran across it somehow, just boom. Another Christian early thrash band from like the 80s, 87 or 8, I think. It was reissued and remastered back a couple years, 10, 12, 15 years ago by Retroactive. Now the band is kind of working again. They came back in, remixed and remastered it, and re-recorded all the bass lines. I'm not exactly sure why. The bassist Adam Alvarez, founding member, I don't know why they took him off. His vocals are still listed as being on here as a background vocalist. Sounds a lot cleaner because of the remix. The old album had I don't want to say muddy sound. It just kind of felt kind of dull. This sounds a lot more clean, but I don't know if it's because they've taken, I don't know, the bass sounds real poppy. I don't know which I prefer. I go back and listen to the other one. I'm like, okay, it's got a little bit more of a muffled sound, but it's got more bass in it than this does. But the bass lines on here are very distinct. So I haven't given it enough listens to say I love it better, but on first listen, I'm like, wow, this is different. I really do appreciate it. They only did the one album and then disappeared. I'm hoping they do something more. And then this I just picked up because it was on sale. Les Carlson, 1971. Les Carlson, of course, the singer from Bloodgood. This is an album he recorded in 1971. It was put out by Gerder Music, and I've been holding off buying it, but the price is right when they were doing all their Christmas sales and stuff, so I grabbed that. That is all. Those are the CDs, and that is all that I have at this point, and I will be back very soon. Thank you for watching. Have a good New Year, and we'll see you on the other side of 2020. The Other Side of 1999 will be 2020 tomorrow. Later.